Hi, everybody. My name is Hadley Bajramovic. I am La Gringa, and with me is.
Zayra Ivette Padilla, la Chapina.
We're here after I got lost in the concrete jungle of LA on Friday to respond to the debate, which was last Thursday. And when I'm like the debate, is the debate that everybody is still talking about with President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, and everybody's focusing on their age and the foolish things that came out of, I guess, both of their mouths. I I think that one debate is probably not enough, but I don't think they're going to debate again. Highly unlikely. Did you watch the debate, Zara?
No, but I was just going through all my feeds about all my friends talking about how bad it was, how two old men talking about who's better at golf, and so yeah.
Yeah. It was, I don't think, useful, but what we know is that immigration, for every election that I can think of for the past 20 years, immigration is always a hot issue, you know, and
Yes.
I guess the debate confirmed that it's one of the hottest issues. I think the economy, the immigration policies, and abortion, those seem to be the things that are on the ballot. But what we can do is discuss what they talked about regarding the immigration policies, because we have watched them play out. I think George Bush, no, maybe Clinton, when I started, I think it was George Bush who was president when I started practicing immigration law.
Mm-hmm.
And I came in right after Bill Clinton enacted IRA, which made a lot of immigration unlawful acts criminal. So, what's interesting is, that Bill Clinton's a Democrat. So,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the really harsh penalties came from IRA, like the unlawful presence bar and criminal illegal reentries and the permanent bar. All that came from Bill Clinton's presidency. So then George Bush took over, and then, well, Clinton started 245I, and George Bush kind of put it to bed. 245I allows people to adjust, and by using a penalty and by filing within a certain time frame that ended on April 30th of 2001. And then, let's see, Bush, then Obama. What happened with Obama is Obama started doing record deportations, like record numbers, and a lot of removal orders in court. And then he gave us DACA and military parole in place. But the borders were not.
And PD closure.
Oh, yeah, PD closure, using the president's power under prosecutorial discretion to close cases in court so that people weren't facing definite removal orders. That was the only way before PD closure, which started around the same time as DACA. You'd either get removed or get granted, but there was no in between, and PD closure gave in between. I guess it was there. It was always there.
Yeah.
That they could use it, but they weren't. But what they were talking about in the debate, always, and my MAGA consultant, always is the border's out of control. It's because of Biden's policies.
It's open.
Open.
According to
Yeah,
Trump.
the border's open. Yeah, and the somebody said to me, if Trump got reelected, just out of the fear of Trump, people would stop coming in. And you know what? We've been there and done that. That's not true. Because the record number of people started coming in 10 years ago. And, a lot of people connect it with the announcement of the special juvenile immigrant visa, which was under President Bush in 2008. And then people in Central America and, other countries started to learn that if you came into the U.S. with one child, they could be eligible for a green card. And that's sort of what caused a surge of children and single parents coming to the border. And then Trump was elected, and we didn't see any changes. Maybe some changes in the law that affected asylum seekers in court. But as far as the border and the number of people crossing, that kind of remained consistent with what was happening, I think, at the end of the Obama administration.
But then in the other in the other sense of like fear about Cheeto Trump, I don't even like to call his name, um became a president. The people inside the US who were without status were the ones who were like freaking out about what was going to happen to us. So
Oh,
then
yeah.
we started seeing more people about filing for asylum because of that fear of going back to their country, because he claimed that he was going to deport everybody.
But he didn't. I mean, there were some changes definitely in DACA. Then we had a change of the law for asylum on the matter of AB. But there was also, the wall. He was campaigning on the wall. And I
Yeah.
think, he did build, some miles of wall, but it definitely doesn't extend from Imperial Beach in San Diego all the way across Texas. That never happened. But I know that the border is not open now. It's more reinforced than ever using technology. I mean, the same kind of technology they use, like in war zones, to track and, um, you know, uh, find people and prevent them from crossing. So we do know that there is a record high of unauthorized crossings under Biden, but it's more related to the business of trafficking people that's occurring in Central America and South America.
Sí, estábamos hablando con Hadley sobre la situación ahorita con el debate presidencial que tuvimos, el primer debate presidencial de este año del 2024, y todos hablan de lo terrible que fue, de que vieron a dos ancianos, como la mayoría de personas le llaman, hablando sobre tonteras, como decimos, porque unos se pusieron a pelear sobre quién era mejor en golf, quién jugaba mejor, quién estaba mejor físicamente o cosas así. Y realmente no se enfocaron en bueno, sí hablaron sobre lo que nos importa a nosotros, que sería el ámbito migratorio. Y el expresidente decía cómo es que por tu culpa el país está como está, esto le decía al actual presidente Biden, y también mencionaba como que supuestamente la frontera del sur, que es la frontera de México, obviamente nunca hablan de la frontera del norte con Canadá, sino siempre lo que si ellos se enfocan es sobre la frontera que existe entre Estados Unidos y México. Y decían que supuestamente, él decía que supuestamente está abierta, y no. Ahorita hay más, incluso más restricciones en ingresar para que las personas ingresen mediante el proceso de asilo. Así que toda esa información que usualmente él habla y que menciona que realmente es incorrecto o mentira, porque no es así. Platicábamos sobre eso, las diferentes situaciones que hemos enfrentado durante todos los años, los últimos 20 años, por ejemplo, que Hadley ha estado practicando la ley migratoria, sobre la ley más difícil y más, como quien dice, injusta, es la que hizo el presidente Clinton en el 97, que es la IRA, por sus siglas en inglés, que es sobre las personas cuando entran, tienen una doble entrada al país y lo que tanto que nos afecta. Nosotros a diario platicamos sobre esta situación con muchos de nuestros clientes, que ellos no pueden arreglar su situación migratoria porque entraron doblemente al país y automáticamente tienen una prohibición permanente de no poder arreglar. Entonces hablábamos sobre diferentes situaciones, sobre cuánto esto nos afecta, qué va a significar, qué significó este debate que hubo. No sabemos si va a haber otro, pero todos hablaban y el enfoque era de que son ancianos, que no saben lo que están hablando, que es triste que el país, Estados Unidos, esté actualmente representado por dos personas que no están capacitadas o aptas para, obviamente, representar a Estados Unidos. Y pues eso es lo que platicábamos sobre lo triste de la situación y cuánto nos va a afectar en el ámbito migratorio, dependiendo cuál de los presidentes quede. Pero como dijo, cuando el expresidente estaba, había un gran miedo de personas que decían que iban a ser deportados, pero realmente no hubo muchas deportaciones. Bueno, no hubieron las deportaciones que supuestamente él mencionaba que iban a haber. Más bien, durante el tiempo de Obama hubieron más deportaciones por personas que tenían obviamente antecedentes penales o ciertas cosas que obviamente fueron las razones por las cuales lo deportaron a las personas. Pero no, realmente no es nada alentador lo que vemos estas elecciones ahorita en noviembre.
Biden's built more wall and added military personnel. What happened that led up to where we are today is at the end of COVID, Trump closed down the border under Title 42. So people were coming to the border to declare asylum. A lot of them are not meritorious cases. We know that. They're coming here for a better economic life situation, which is not a valid asylum claim. But they still have the right to be heard and then return to their country. Well, under Title 42, those people were sitting I'm saying sitting, they were living like in Tijuana, Mexicali, all the border towns. I remember crossing over the border at Otay and seeing people pedaling, in the lane where we're waiting to be inspected and trying to survive while they were waiting for Title 42 to be lifted. Again, Title 42 was to protect national interest in a health crisis, right? And prevent people from coming in. So then Biden was elected. He did not lift Title 42. He did not undo what Trump put in place. He left Title 42 there in place for a while, and then there were some lawsuits and injunctions and, this and that, like there always is. And finally, Title 42 was lifted, but around that time, the Biden administration also introduced an app called CBP1 and put some policies in place that if you didn't use CBP1, the app, to request an interview and to request entry into the U.S. to go through an asylum process, then it restricted access to the relief of asylum. Like if you don't use the app and you decide, okay, I'm going to go through the desert, you don't have the same rights under Biden's policies to get asylum. So Title 42 wasn't lifted. Sorry, it's only been like a year, right, that it was lifted.
Yeah.
And so now that's why this is all happening. Everybody is learning again that the border's open and they're rushing in. And that's how I see it. Plus, we also interview all these people that come in they're either apprehended by CBP after they enter, or they're actually giving themselves over to CBP once they enter. And they're telling us what they went through. And yes, it's true, 9 times out of 10, they're coming for economic reasons, and 10% really are fleeing persecution. But, we know that they're coming as a result of a well-organized traffic ring. I think, though, that some of the facts tell us that the illegal immigration has decreased by 40%. I don't know if that's since CBP was, introduced a year ago. There's a lot of cooperation too with Mexican immigration. I've seen it myself, how it's increased when I come in through Tijuana. I remember I was on a plane, Zara, do you remember? I was on a plane full of people from Venezuela, and we came into CBX, and they took them out of the line. They said, nope, you go this way. That was Mexican immigration.
I was so sad to see the people there.
Yeah. So, Biden did try to push through a bipartisan bill for immigration reform to help with the crisis. And there was Republican opposition. It didn't happen. Apparently there was bipartisan support, and then at the last minute it didn't go through. That's a common theme of any immigration issue. And now I hear all these stories coming out. I mean, I'm saying all these stories, but there have been a few people who've been murdered by undocumented immigrants. And those stories are being put front and center. I even saw a commercial during the debate showing this beautiful young girl and the undocumented immigrant who murdered her. So, that's stoking fear, obviously. Yeah, there and some of the after the debate discussions, both parties had commercials that were brutal. So and one of them was this beautiful girl lost her life. I mean, but everybody knows that immigrants have a very low crime rate. And what these things happen, they're awful. It's terrible. But I just want to remind everybody that they have friends that they probably have no idea that they're undocumented and crossed through the desert, and probably talk about these things with those people, not realizing that they're from, another country and had gone through that perilous journey. And just remember, that is a scary, horrible journey that takes weeks, and people only do that kind of life or death, the kind of journey of something really horrible. They have to be pushed from their country, even if it's economic or fleeing persecution. That's not something that people want to do. It's not even a drive across country. I know, Zayra, your husband's driving down from here to Guatemala. It's a totally different thing in a car driving through a country. They're walking and they're being exploited, and girls are being picked out of groups to, and trafficked and sold and killed. So people are very vulnerable when they're on this journey. So these are not criminals. We know the criminals are in there. There's a criminal element, as there always is. But anyway, the idea is to create fear for people who live in the U.S., and especially those maybe who aren't near the border, where, things are very influenced by Hispanic culture. So I think it's a shame that the Republican Party exploits those horrible things to stoke fear. And that's my reaction to the speech and to the commercials that they played on the networks. Like that.
That's so,
Hadley, Gringa, and we'll see you tomorrow.